In this exercise, we'll be optimizing a series of images using Adobe Photoshop and outputting it into an HTML web page, and then making some mild changes to that web page in Dreamweaver, and ultimately looking at it in a browser to compare the various differences within the formats, when some of the advantages as well as disadvantages. So I've got a couple of files here, one fairly finished and one which is the one that is provided in the download, which is called Optimize Slices. As you can see over here in my layers, I've got one called Main, which is just a consolidation of all the artwork, and then the one that we're going to use to create a second set of images to create some image rollovers, again using Dreamweaver to do that. So if I click that on, what it basically does is add a red tint to all of the different images. So ultimately when my mouse rolls over it, it will turn a little bit red. I've kept the text layers intact, so you have 5 layers in total. So for the first set, we'll just keep the rollover layer off, and we'll work with that. I just need to go over to my slice tool, and I'll create a couple of slices, and then I'll jump over to my finished file. So in order to create some accurate slices, I will zoom up, and I want to isolate each image in the grid pattern. So I'll start up here. If you can't see the slices actually, go up to View, Show Slices. Okay. And then of course select your slice tool. And all I need to do is the first one, and then I can actually duplicate it since all the images are the same size in each row. Okay, I will zoom up because I need to be accurate to the pixel. As I can see over here, I'm off by 1. And you may also need to turn off your snapping, which is also under the View pull-down menu. Okay, it looks like it's good there. At the top I can go down 1 pixel. Alright, so the sizing is good. At this time I'll give it a name by double-clicking on it. And I'll call this first row Watermelon _ 01. And the next one of course will be 02, and so on. Now because I've named it here, when I duplicate this slice, it will carry the name as well. So I'll just go over to my Slice Select tool now. And with my Option key down on a Mac or Alt key down on the PC, I'll click and drag. Then I'll hold my Shift key to constrain that and position that as accurately as I can, and drop it. I will zoom in to make sure. And I can see I'm off by a pixel. And in this case, with it currently selected, if I hit my right arrow key, I can nudge it a pixel at a time. And the next step is to give it a new name. I'm just going to modify that 1 to a 2. Click OK. So I would do that all down the row, and I would do that for each set. The height is slightly different on each of these, but the width should be the same. So assuming those were all done, I'll go over to a file with them all done. You can see them all sliced here. If I double click on it, you can see the various names have been applied. I will export this using the Save for Web command. So again, making sure all your slices are created and named. You can go up to File, Save for Web. And I've already created a folder to act as the root folder for this set of files. But before I go to that, when I'm in this dialog box, I actually need to go and customize the formatting for each. Now I will let you know right now that I've done it already, so they should be set, but I'll show you what the settings are on some of these. To start with, for the background, you just click on one of these background slices that you didn't actually create, and you can establish the setting for that, and all the other leftover slices will assume that same setting. So if I click over here, as you can see, it's GIF 32 no dither. For example, if I changed it there, it does change anywhere where there's an unselected slice. Okay, so I'll change that back to 32 in fact, and go to my selected slices. You can see here, JPEG 60% quality, and this is what it's set at. JPEG high happens to be 60%. Next one, you will need to modify it a bit here. Quality set to 5. JPEG low is actually 10, so you would actually still have to go down to this input window and set it to 5. And then the next ones are set accordingly. GIF 128, GIF 32 dithered, and pay attention that it's dithered versus non-dithered, and GIF 8 dithered. This one you'll also have to go in and modify the number because there's no preset for the 8s. And these ones down here are interesting. As you can see, there are some transparencies on some of these formats. In particular, the PNG format. PNG 8 will provide a limited transparency, whereas PNG 24 will give you that 8-bit level transparency, which actually gives you the soft transitional shadows, as you can see here. Now GIF also provides transparency as an option, as you can see over here. But again, it's not as elegant as the PNG 24. The PNG 24 is the highest quality when it comes to having smooth transitional transparencies. Okay, if I move along here, you can see the various settings. And you can see in the preview the different quality in the visual. And down here, I've got one that's rather specialized, GIF Adaptive Patterns, 8 colors. Okay, so do take note of the labels below and create these accordingly. Here's another PNG 24 with a gradated transparency. And here's about the lowest quality you'll get, GIF 8 no dither. Once they are all set, you'll save it as a small website. So having set all of these, I click Save. And I do have a folder already created. I have a folder called Image Map, and inside of there I've got a site root compression folder. It's named site_root_compression. I'll double click that, and that will be the root folder for this HTML page with its images. I need to go down to the center here. Make sure format is set to HTML and images. Under settings, I need to click Other because I want it to generate a folder called Images to contain all of the images on the page. So I'll just cycle through here till I find Optimized Files. Make sure that Put Images in Folder is checked. The default name Images is what I'd like, so I will leave it at that and click OK. Also make sure Slices is set to all slices. Once you've set all of those, click Save and it will generate the files. At which point I would bring this over into Dreamweaver, but let me just go and make sure that those files are there. And there they are. And I can open this by double clicking it. I can open it in a browser. And I can see a lot of the variations in the quality and so on. But I want to bring it into Dreamweaver so that I can appreciate the transparency behind some of these. Right now it's just showing the white of the page. So if I bring it to Dreamweaver, I'll give the background color something other than white, and then you'll actually be able to see what's going on with the transparencies. So I've got it open already. First thing I'll do is actually create a site in my Files panel based on that folder that I have. So I'm just going to click this closed, go to Manage Sites, New Site. I'll name it Compressions, and I'll go and search for that folder, which I know is on my desktop in here. Highlight that, click Choose, click Save, click Done. I should see the folder show up here called Optimize Slices 2014.html. I can double click that to open it so I can see that page. And all I'm going to go in here is go Modify Page Properties. And under background color, I'll just pick something other than the white. So why don't we just pick this school bus yellow, and I can click Apply so that I can preview it. Click OK. And you can actually even see it in Dreamweaver here, how that PNG 24 gives you that beautiful soft transparency, where the other ones are a bit more hard-edged. So you wouldn't be able to use a gradient, in other words, with these limited transparencies. They are best used for hard, flat graphics. Anyhow, let me save this. And I will preview it once in the browser. And there we have it. Now the next step I'd like you to do is go back to Photoshop. We'll duplicate the file so that we can do a set of rollovers and come back and create some rollovers. So let me go over to Photoshop, take that finished file, go Image, Duplicate, and I'll just append the name. I'll just say rollovers. Click OK. Because I don't want to have to kind of undo all the work I did with the naming of these slices. So I'm just going to go over in here and add over. I'll copy that, and that's what I will paste inside of each file name. It's a bit of a pain, but it's all worth it in the end. Now, through the magic of editing, all my slices magically got their names changed with the added underscore over attached to them, as you can see here. So the next step is to actually change the visual aspect by turning on the rollover layer, which gives it all a bit of a red tone, and then export all of these as selected slices, and then we will apply the rollover features in Dreamweaver. So with the rollover layer turned on and all my slices renamed with the added underscore over to them, I'm going to go up to File, Save for Web, and select each slice with my Shift key, press down, and just highlight each of the selected slices I want to export. Then click Save. Make sure I'm sending them to the Images folder in my root directory, and make sure that I set Format to Images Only. Settings, you want to ensure that you're not creating a new Images folder, so this is unchecked as it should be. And slices, you want to highlight selected slices, which were those ones we selected previously. Again, ensuring I'm going to the Images folder, I can click Save. And if I go out to my desktop, I can just confirm I'm looking at Date Modified, and there are all my new images with that red tone with the underscore over attached to the name. So let's go over to Dreamweaver now and finish this off. I still have the file opened, so what I'll do is I'll just do one or two of these and you'll know how to do the rest of them. So I'm just going to add a rollover feature to these to polish it off. So highlighting the picture, I have to go and add a name under the ID window in Properties. Now I previously named this one Melon01, and I'd have to name them all. So if I highlight the second one, I would call it Melon02, and so on down the line. I'd call these ones Welcome, and the ones below it I would call Tub. So I'm just going to do one or two. As I said, I'll do this first one, highlight it. If it's not in your panels, go up to Window and choose Behaviors. And under Behaviors, again, with the image highlighted, attribute the behavior swap image. That's going to come up with a window that looks like this, and you should see the name of your image appear in this top window, and what you want to do is browse for the rollover image. So I'll click Browse, go to my Images folder, and I'm looking for Watermelon 01 underscore over. Click Open, click OK, and you should see these two behaviors inside of your panel. I'll save the file, and I'll actually just test this by using the Live button. And click on it here. And there we go. So I'll do one more. But this is all you need to do to finish this off, is attribute a rollover feature to each one of these panels. I'm going to turn off live mode. Just do this last one. Highlight it. Make sure it's got a property name under the ID window. If not, give it one. swap image, browse for image. This one should be called Watermelon02. Over, open, okay. Save and test. I can check it in a browser this time. And there we have the two rollovers. Okay, again you can see the beauty of the transparency in the PNG24 and the limited aspects of transparencies in the GIFs as well as the PNG8s. So this is your compression assignment for today.